Kevin Phoenix from That Hashtag Show. Maxwell, I love Upload. It's one of my favorite series. I love the humor. I love this like kind of wacky yet crazily grounded world, and I love the kind of philosophical angles, that like come out of it. But my first question for you: what's your favorite joke, or is there a joke that like you put in there that no one's really noticed yet?
Ooh, there's not one that I can think of specifically.
Mhm.
Um, there's some, or there's one I'm really happy with in episode 307 that are for this season that I can't talk about yet. But if you keep an eye out for that one, I think you can tell which one it is when you get there, just because it's kind of like, you know, it's a fun one.
So, all right, I'll look out for it. I'll look out for it. And yeah, so since we can't talk about 307 quite yet, can we talk about the first episode one where Detective Sato kind of turns? I feel season two kind of built him up to be like a truth seeker, a justice seeker, but
Yeah.
in the first episode he kind of takes that, like he turns the greed real quick, kind of quick. Could you talk to me about the decision that like led to that, and yeah, basically what happened with that?
Sure. I think, part of that is just showing um, how powerful these enemies that Nathan and Nora are up against are. The idea that all it would take is like as soon as he realizes those dudes are involved, he's like, well, obviously I'm going to switch sides because that's the natural thing to do. And I could make, kind of a killing from it. So I really think, it was an extension of wanting to show that how formidable these ultimate foes are.
I can definitely see that. Yeah, it's when a, $1 billion is a lot of money, and so when they have that kind of power, it's kind of
Right. And we're talking, hundreds of billions with choke.
um. I was wondering, could you talk a bit about the difference between your producer duties and your writing duties? Like, how does that like day to day differ?
Sure, yeah. That's a great question. So, as it relates to the writer's room, I'm sort of Greg calls me his head writer, or other people would say like I'm the number two on the show. And so once you kind of hit producer level and above, and I'm a co-executive producer, you kind of take on a little bit more management duties. So like for me, when Greg's not in the room, I'm running the room, I'm leading the breaks on stories, um, things like that, and I'm kind of more responsible for the output during those times. Um, Me in particular, I also travel with the show to Vancouver for production, and so everything from pre-production, you know, meetings, visual effects meetings, props meetings, costumes meetings, all that. I'm in those, giving input and all those sorts of things. And then I'm also on set, kind of supervising what we're shooting, just trying to make sure that what we're doing is in line with what was in the scripts. So working with the directors, working with the actors, in concert with the director, and all that type of stuff. Just giving notes and things like that.
Okay, okay, I see it. And then writing is just when you like doing all that and then getting your like to write your own episode, do you kind of step
Right.
back from that and then just kind of focus on the episode?
Yeah, well, generally how we do it is, you get assigned an episode, you go out with the outline, you have a week to write it. Um, and then it's like, there's someone else who can, it's next man up, someone else will kind of take over my duties in the writer's room. And then, yeah, you just pump away in your episode, do the best you can, um, and bring it back in, and then back to business as usual. We all, once you bring it back in, kind of we all work on them together. So, just because there's a joke in my episode doesn't mean I wrote it. Just because even sometimes writers, like if they don't manage to get a script that season, they may have jokes in every single episode. You never know.
Okay, all right, I get that. I see that. I see that. I recently read the Untold Story of The Office, and they were talking about the difference between when Greg Daniels was in the writers' room versus without. I was wondering if you could talk about like kind of what you've taken away from Greg and like how you're bringing that to this project and like what you're gonna take with you to the next projects.
Yeah, I think one of the great things about working with Greg is that he is very good about sharing sort of like his reasoning for stuff. So, we'll pitch him something, he's like, you know, don't really like it, or like this isn't the thing. But a lot of times he has a specific reason in terms of like, this is an example. I can't remember what was pitched on the show, but just the idea that you can't have a character make just like a massively serious decision for its silly reason. And it was like, oh yeah, like it doesn't support it. It kind of makes the character seem dumb, all that type of stuff. That's a really basic one, but um, he has all sorts of little like tidbits and knowledge like that he's very happy to share because one, it helps us make the show better, but also like you learn from it. And I think I'm a much better writer than I was 2 years ago when I joined the show.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. So, but kind of speaking on like tidbits of knowledge and everything, as the show comes off as a very easy watch, but there's a lot of like crazy like philosophy technology. What was the research like? Yeah, getting to be able to kind of like integrate all this stuff into the writing.
I'd say on the technology front, we try and just stay super abreast of like what's out there. We always look at what's kind of showing up at the Consumer Electronics Show every year to think what might be coming down the pipeline. Um, we're always trying to just keep abreast of like technological, excuse me, advancements. And then when it comes to sort of the philosophy, the theory, the things like that, I think that is the strength of just our group of writers that we have. Like it's a smart group of people. Um, there's no one person that knows all of this stuff, but everyone has their things that they're passionate about, and it's like it's a push and pull, kind of orchestrated by Greg, getting all these things in and all these different perspectives. I remember I turned in something in season 2, and he was like, "The show isn't just for Bernie Bros." And I was like, first of all, I reject that label, but also, okay, I get the point that you're making. I'm maybe hitting it a little too hard. So it's a balancing act between all the cool voices that we have working with us.
That's awesome. I like how like no, that's not what I'm going. Okay, I get you. I like
Yeah.
that. uh, what aspects of season 3 do you think will resonate most with the audience, and what kind of conversations do you hope like it will spark?
I would say I think the relationship stuff's going to resonate with people. And there's multiple relationships going on at the same time, and they're all kind of going through their different things. And so one of the great things I think about this season is that you look at these storylines and you're like, wow, only Upload could do this story. But hopefully that emotional core still feels real. And you're like, okay, but in that situation, I like almost kind of see how it could, really work out. And in terms of conversations, I think just very generally, like we have to think about how we want our world to be. It doesn't have to be the way it is now if we decide otherwise. We can change things if we really want to. And I think very generally, I hope that looking at this sort of, exaggerated satirical future makes people go like, well, I know that this is a TV show, but like, I don't want things to go that way. Like, how do we stop that? So, yeah.